These are professional Rocket League players who are caught cheating and got temporarily or permanently banned from events. Our first player is Demonator. A roster called Team Defiant that consisted of Sosa, Grills, and Demon played in the RLCS Season 7 RLRS play-ins. After losing in the first round of the qualifier, Team Defiant made a huge run in the lower bracket to qualify for RLRS League play. Prior to the regular season, they were picked up by an org called Pittsburgh Embers, where they added Kai99 Jr. to the team as coach and sub. After competing in Week 1 and 2, going 1-1, an incriminating tweet surfaced in the Rocket League community. This tweet was an in-game screenshot of Demon showing extreme toxicity, calling players things that I honestly can't even say in this video, in a drop shot match of all things. This ultimately got Demon banned for the remainder of 2019, also disqualifying him for the rest of the RLRS season. After this, Pittsburgh Embers' new addition Kai played for the rest of the RLRS season, where they went on to place 5th. Next, we have the full roster of Naventic. This team started out as Cypher, with Corrupt, Akenro, Double, and King Wizard on the roster. Cypher finished in the 9th to 12th spot in the RLCS Season 4 RLRS plans, earning a spot in the regular season. Similar to Team Defiant, this team was picked up by an org called Naventic prior to the first week of matches. However, before they were able to play a single game in the season, Akenro spoke to an RLCS admin to be removed from the team, then later admitted to a rule break by his own team in the play-ins. Turns out Cypher used an illegal substitute during the qualifier, and this illegal sub was none other than Atomic, the now superstar pro player for G2 Esports. And you may be wondering why Atomic was an illegal substitute. This is for 3 reasons. 1, he wasn't registered on the Cypher roster, meaning he wasn't even on the team. 2, he was playing on Double's account for the play-ins, which is an RLCS misconduct. And 3, Atomic was 14 at this point, which is under the age of the RLCS minimum being 15. The situation was confirmed, and the team was dropped by their new org shortly after. Along with forfeiting their RLRS spot, and Double, King Wizard, and Corrupt each received a 1-year ban from competing, while Atomic received a 2-year ban, meaning he was out for a full year by the time he was old enough to compete, with Akenro only receiving a ban of 3 months based on the fact he did not play in a single match, but he still knew about the rule breaking going on. This next one may be a surprise to some, but it's Seiko. This one is a similar situation to Naventic. During the RLCS X fall split, Seiko was on a team with Gaspo and Azu under the name Space Knights. They competed in the first fall regional qualifier and even made it to day 3 of the event. But it was later determined that Space Knights illegally substituted a 13-year-old player named Zen, which from the Atomic situation we already know is against the RLCS minimum age, and for this fact he was also not registered to the roster. Seiko later put out a twitlonger explaining the situation. He mentioned they found out about a schedule change that didn't allow one of the players to compete on day 3. The team was aware of the illegality, but made the wrong decision and decided to play with Zen out of excitement instead of just forfeiting. Seiko said he didn't think they would go that far, and the idea was just to participate and lose. So Seiko and the rest of Space Knights were banned from all psyonix operated tournaments until the end of the RLCS X season, which was 3 full splits where this was just the first event of the season. Seiko took the ban with grace and apologized for the acts. Obviously, we later realized the ban really bit him, since the first RLCS event he came back to after the unban, he ended up winning with Team Endpoint. And if you want to see how he managed to win the first main event he ever played, be sure to check out my other video here. Now for our first Oceanic players on this list that were banned are Requiem and Deca. These 2 players definitely did not get the same closure that Seiko did. Not only were Requiem and Deca consistent RLCS players, but they were top championship level players. They both had multiple top 2 finishes in OCE RLCS and amassed tens of thousands of dollars in prize money. After competing for so long, a thorough investigation was launched on the 2 players that determined throughout multiple seasons of the RLCS, the 2 players had violated the code of conduct with abusive and offensive language found in-game and through Discord messages. psyonix determined that the right course of action was to ban Deca from all psyonix operated events for 2 RLCS seasons, while Requiem received a much more harsh punishment with a permanent ban from all psyonix events. Another 2 Oceanic players that were banned are Delusion and Frenzy, but for a much different reason. Here we had Team Esper, which consisted of Delusion, Frenzy, and Steve. They were a strong contender in Season 9 of the Oceanic RLCS, so they found themselves in a position against Team Fury in the final League Play series, where if Team Esper was able to win 3-0 or 3-1 in the series, they would secure a playoff spot, while a 3-2 win would not be enough. A win in any fashion for Team Fury, though, would send them into the playoffs. So after playing a tough series, it was sent to the final game, meaning even if Esper won, they wouldn't make the playoffs. But another team called Renegades was dependent on this game. Renegades would only make the playoffs if Esper won 3-2. And it was clear that Esper did not want them making playoffs since they couldn't either. They intentionally threw the final game, and it was evident from the start. They would blatantly miss open nets, not go for kickoffs, and flailed like they'd never played the game before. The throw was so clear that even the casters picked up on it very early and made comments about the performance from Team Esper. Ultimately, Team Fury won and went on to the playoffs. Later on, Steve was distant from the team and left the roster altogether. Then Team Esper dropped the roster and a competitive ruling from psyonix was put out, banning Delusion and Frenzy from RLCS events for a year, while Steve was determined not to be participating in the match fixing and received no punishment. Finally, we have a player already mentioned once on this list, Corrupt. Yes, the same Corrupt that was temporarily banned on Naventic. This time though, it was an indefinite ban. While Corrupt did show clear skill in the game, making RLRS and getting to the top 100 leaderboards on occasion, he was heavily known in the community for two things: toxicity and boosting. On top of breaking rules on Team Naventic, Corrupt was banned multiple times on different accounts for boosting, which he blatantly advertised in his Twitter bio and would often stream these on his Twitch channel. If you don't know what boosting is, or at least this type of boosting, it's where a player is paid to go onto another person's account and get them to a certain rank. There are a few reasons why a person would pay someone to do this, but it is against the terms of service and is a bannable offense. This, along with toxic behavior and the Naventic incident, earned Corrupt a permanent ban, making him one of, if not the most infamous pro Rocket League player, even though it was short-lived. Do you think any of these players were justified? And let me know what you think was the craziest ban on this list. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.